Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sadgurunataya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sadgurunataya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sadgurunataya. I am bliss, bliss absolute, bliss I am.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Get ready to see another side to us. So today's video was inspired by a question we received from a viewer.
Bananas and Roses, who says, do you have any tips on how someone could go about researching and how to live in an ashram or Buddhist temple? It's something I've always wanted to do, but it seems so overwhelming. As when I research it, it looks like something that has become a tourism business. Great question.
Very good question. So we thought the best way to answer this question is to give our experience of the time we spent in an ashram in India.
Just before we give our ashram experience, we just wanted to mention that it is important to align your ethics with any spiritual endeavours. So there are two places that we can think of that have a vegan ethos. One is Plum Village in France, and there resides Thich Nhat Hanh, a Vietnamese Buddhist monk of international renown. And there's also another one here in Thailand near Surat Thani, a Buddhist vegan temple. So check those out.
And of course there are temples and ashrams in the West as well. You don't have to go to India or even anywhere in the East. There are many temples that you can visit and stay at in the West.
Interestingly, the ashram we went to, we read in a book called Yoga School Dropout by Lucy Edge, it being referred to as a spiritual entertainment camp. And in many respects we can see the reasons why. However, it was also very necessary, if you like, for us at the time.
Yeah, so yes, definitely this industry has become very touristy, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So we're going to give you our experience and then you can decide from there what you're actually after, what stage or level you're at and what you're really looking for, and take your research from there. So this all started back in 2008. We mentioned in a previous video that we attended a yoga retreat in Italy. So during that yoga retreat, the yoga teacher was an American woman living in Italy. Her name is Gabrielle, and a few days into the retreat, Gabby came over and said to us, all right guys, what's your story? Because no other couples of our young age were attending this retreat. They were all
pre- and postmenopausal women.
Yeah, and no other men, right? So we had a good chat to Gabby about our story and our situation and why we'd left Australia and all the things we were dealing with back then. And she said, you need to read this book. And she gave us Eat, Pray, Love. Okay, so we went away and we read that. I read it first and I didn't say anything. I got to the end, I closed the book, I gave it to Luca.
And I read it, and at the end of it I closed the book and turned to Natasha and said, so I guess we're going to India.
And we booked a few days after that. So if you haven't read the book Eat, Pray, Love, please do so. And then from there, it's sort of, our journey became a bit of our own Eat, Pray, Love story.
Certainly did.
Yeah. So we said, okay, we're going to go to an ashram, and the reason why we wanted to do it was because we needed some space to deal with stuff.
So we'd been travelling up until that point, which was all wonderful and was all, you know, opening in its own regard. However, it was also a little bit of a distraction from the main reasons that we had left Australia and the deeper personal issues that we needed addressing. So we knew it was necessary to lock ourselves away, hunker down, and really just, you know, face our demons head on, so to speak.
Yeah. So the first thing we did was email Gabby and say, okay, where do we go? We want to go to an ashram. What can you recommend? She's the only yoga teacher we knew. And she came back and said, well, I've never even been to India. And we thought, oh gosh. But a friend of hers had gone to the Shivananda Ashram in Kerala, India, which is in the south. And she said, try that. I don't know. So we
had a look on the website, looked good to us, and it was all we had to go on. And so we inquired and we booked 3 months.
Yes, and we actually referred to Gabby, because her name's Gabrielle, as our, Archangel Gabrielle. She was guiding us. She really put us on the path and was starting to direct our journey. So we trusted this advice, this sign, and we just went with it.
When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So we had absolutely no idea about spirituality, and it kind of freaked us out. I remember we were in the taxi on the way to the ashram in India, and we were, gripping each other's hands, white knuckles, what are we getting ourselves into? What have we done? We should back out now. And they had a policy of celibacy at the ashram, and we knew we wanted to respect that. And so, in fact, that holding hands we knew it was also going to be the last time in 3 months that we were going to have physical contact of any kind. And I remember there was a guy in the ashram later on when I was telling him that we were here for 3 months and that we were, adhering to the celibacy, and he said, "Yeah, good luck with that." And so it was a big undertaking. It really was.
But it was incredible, and we recommend that couples do this just for that experience of, someone that you're very close to, and then saying, okay, well, you're going to still live in the same space, but you're not allowed to touch. And then coming together at the end of that 3 months, oh my goodness, just the first embrace, the first hug, the first kiss. It really takes your relationship to a new level. And we wanted to say that we're going to put a lot more detail about this experience in our ebook, because otherwise this video would be, God, it would go on and on and on for hours. So we're just going to give little snippets now, but the full story and the full experience will be in the ebook. So I know you guys are going to have lots of questions about that. So that was the celibacy, and the ashram allowed us to have our own private room because we were there for 3 months. So we started off in a dorm for the first 3 nights, and there were separate dorms, male and female. Oh my God, it was just so scary. It was just shaking, anxiety, terrified, petrified, and there was a lion park across the road, and we could hear the lions roaring in the night, and we arrived in the evening.
And we didn't know it was a lion park at that time, so anyway.
We thought we were going to be mauled to death.
The wildest imagination, running.
Yeah, it was pretty scary, but anyhow, we ended up getting a private room. We had separate beds and very basic accommodation. We've got some photos now that we can show you.
So we told our families before going into the ashram what we were doing, and that we didn't want to have any contact with the outside world for the 3 months, because we just really wanted to, shut off all external distractions. So there was going to be no email, no phone calls, no Skyping.
Yeah, and that was hard for them, but it was necessary for us, so we had to do it. So the actual schedule of the ashram began at, we would wake up at 5:30.
Yeah.
Meditation was at 6 o'clock for 20 minutes. Then
that would be broken with some chanting, and that would go till about, 7?
7, yeah.
And then there would be a talk on a spiritual topic of sorts, life matters, the big questions. And then we'd have some morning tea, and then we'd start our first asana practice at 8 a.m.
Which is yoga practice for 2 hours.
Yeah, and then we'd have breakfast at 10, and we'd sit on the floor eating with our hands from a thali tray. All a fascinating experience for us, wasn't it?
Completely.
And then we'd have karma yoga, or selfless service, where we would all engage in activities to keep the ashram up and running. So cleaning the toilets, the dormitories, the ashram grounds.
Yeah. So we started off cleaning toilets, and then we were upgraded because of our long stay. So I was the librarian, which was a wonderful job. I think I had the best job. Yours was good too, though.
Yeah, I was the caretaker of a pineapple garden, so I would plant and water the pineapples, and yeah, well, it was great.
It's lovely. And then after the karma yoga, we had the afternoon free, and that's when we did a lot of our own reading and journaling and crying and just self-development, self-study, really just working out our stuff. It was so, so important. The late afternoon, there would be another lecture that was optional to go to.
Sometimes cinema.
Exactly, screening cinema. And that was the first time that we were exposed to those kind of movies, to those kind of ideas, to those kind of talks about who am I, what is the ego, what is this mind, this monkey mind that jumps around to different thoughts. Just asking those questions of, what are we here for? What's going on? What is this thing called life? What are all these distractions out in the world? Why do I feel the way that I do? Why do I have this pain that I do, or whatever it is? So it was so much development.
Absolutely.
Then
at
after that,
4 o'clock we'd have another 2 hours of asana practice, and then at 6 it would be dinner, and then at 8 we would have some more meditation for another 20 minutes, which would be broken by some more chanting, and then it would be bedtime.
Yeah.
And we'd be sort of lights out by 9:30.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the routine, and people were going there to do their yoga teacher training course, and other people like us were going there on what's called a yoga vacation, which is a 2-week program, but we did it back to back for the 3 months because we really needed that long, solid time to work through things.
And there were many people, I recall, who actually went back to the ashram year in, year out because they enjoyed the experience so much. So, you know, if it was really overly touristy, those people wouldn't have kept returning, would they?
And when we talk about tourism, touristy, what happened was they would have like Friday night was a talent show.
Yeah, and also cultural activity. Cultural shows?
Yeah, like people would come and do traditional dancing, there would be costumes, so just different things that were sort of exposing you to Indian culture a lot more. It's not there are traditional ashrams where it's just very much like monks and swamis and
austerity to the max.
Yeah, and then there's this, which was a nice introduction for us. I mean, we were completely freaking out at that stage, so if you don't have any level of spirituality or understanding of Indian culture, then this was a really nice way to ease us into it. I think there's no way we could have done, you know, the traditional ashrams at that point. So it really depends on where your level is and what you're after. Chanting was a massive part of ashram life, and when we first arrived, we thought we were in a cult.
We thought, oh my God, they're going to brainwash us. What have we done? Let's get the hell out of here, quick, smart. And, you know,
we were sitting there like this.
Very suspicious and critical and
petrified. We didn't want to say the words, we didn't want to chant, you know, we're in a hall with up to 300 people.
Yeah, such resistance within us.
It was awful. And then, like, after a week, we were sort of like... And then after a little bit longer, we were, okay, clapping here. After a little bit longer, we were getting to know the words and singing a bit more. By the end of it, we would be running into the hall, like, pushing each other out of the way.
Racing to get to the front, who could grab the tambourines first. And
we loved it, we knew all the words, and that actually became our favourite part of the ashram, was the chanting, something that we resisted so much because we thought they're brainwashing us, we're going to be like Hare Krishnas, and that is just, well, how do you describe it, the energy?
Yeah, I mean, it's called bhakti yoga, or the yoga of devotion. And all you're doing is
opens the heart.
Yeah, you're acknowledging that there's a higher source, and you know, it resides within each of us and resides in the universe and world around us. And we're just connecting with that and acknowledging it, and being grateful for it, isn't it?
Yes.
They're songs of gratitude, and
it felt so good. It felt so good. That's all we went with, was how did it make us feel, and we loved it, absolutely.
And the words are all in relation to, Hindu deities. We came to realise that these Hindu deities are simply depictions of characteristics and attributes within our individual selves.
So in a way, really, you're kind of chanting to yourself, to everything in you, everything around you.
You're acknowledging the divinity within you and the divinity around you.
Yeah.
And another wonderful aspect involved at the ashram were ceremonies, or pujas. Again, just devotional ceremonies where you're, again, acknowledging the higher source within you and around you.
Giving gratitude, offerings.
Yeah, candles and flowers and just symbolic gestures.
That set up a lot of foundation for us going forward. I mean, look, basically our entire being, our life changed from that point, from that 3 months. Everything we looked at was completely different. Everything we said and felt was completely different.
We're sitting in front of this camera now because of those experiences, because they led us to veganism, which is a
Yes.
process of opening one's heart to compassion.
Yeah. So a lot of people would think, oh, this is all spiritual woo-woo rubbish and it's not for me and there's religion involved and there's this and that and it's touristy and whatever.
And we're not religious at all.
At all, no. But, you know, hey, guys, if you want to experience something completely different, or if you are really stuck in a life situation and you just need to answer those big questions and start to do some self-inquiry, we can't recommend this highly enough. It was a magical, brilliant, life-changing experience.
I mean, those words are thrown around a lot lately, you know, life-changing, but it literally
Seriously.
was.
And life-saving. For us, in our case, it was
Absolutely.
life-saving because things were so bad. So,
More details in the ebook.
Yeah. So definitely hope this kind of answers your question. Don't be put off so much about the, you know, tourism side of what ashrams and temples may promote. It could be just perfect for you, what you need in that moment. So do your research, think about where you're at and what you're really after, and you'll be guided towards the right place for you at the right time in your life.
Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you found this information interesting and useful. We're going to leave you with some images from our time at the ashram now. Comment below what your ashram or temple experiences have been. Like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye for now.